Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This week's show, we're talking about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the series premiere of Watari-kun's is about to collapse. Great series premiere. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So we get introduced to Naoto, our main protagonist, and it's interesting because it seems like based on the intro, there's going to basically be technically four girls in his life that he's kind of torn between. Three in a romantic sense, one on outlier being his sister Suzu, who is very likes to co-opt him essentially. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Naoto is basically looking after his sister after their parents died 2 years ago, and have been bouncing from relative to relative until they've only been here a month since they've been living with their aunt, Tamea. And I'm so... because people think he has a sister con thing going on, but I wonder if it's kind of the other thing where his sister, once again, his sister's loves him and wants him all to herself to the point she doesn't want him hanging out with any other girls, which I find that so fascinating. But it's it makes sense why he's so protective of his sister, because right, you're the only direct family I have left after losing our parents, so it's he probably feels extra motivated. I don't think they ever went into how his parents died, just that they did die. So he's probably extra motivated. I got to be very protective of my sister. It's my duty as the big brother to kind of serve this role as both kind of big brother and parent in a lot of way. Because we have it doesn't seem like Tameo is too involved. Because basically it's we don't even know what she does for work. She just stays in her room all day. We also know she has beef with Naoto's dad because she's every day you look more and more like your dad, and it just pisses me off. And it's really, that's how you're going to walk into the house with that comment? Because she's happy that Suzu looks a lot more like their mom, but she's yeah, but she has my height or whatever. So I'm wondering what went down, Tameo has an issue with any romantic stuff happening, and it's just, I don't know if that stems from was Naoto's dad a player when he was younger until he settled down, and it basically Tameo holds resentment for that, or is it more her own love life isn't really going anywhere, so she's kind of resenting Naoto for having any advancements at a young age? Maybe I don't know. She could be projecting a lot of her own insecurities and issues onto Naoto. Or it might also be how dare you do such a thing in front of such an innocent child like Suzu. Once again, she kind of already has beef with Naoto looking like his dad, so probably an amalgamation of all that is probably her beef with him. Obviously, the main person he's into is Yukari, and it's pretty obvious she's kind of into him as well, but he's kind of let a lot of his extracurricular stuff kind of fall to the wayside, because it's well, the fact is that I got to look after my sister, make sure she gets home safe. He drops her off at school, but also picks her up after school. So just kind of how the whole situation works. And then we have the whole Satsuki of it all, which her and Naoto have history because they used to get along pretty well. In fact, he liked her, and I think even back then she liked him, but something went down where she destroyed the garden they were working on. It was it's her family's garden. It was his family's garden, and then she destroyed it and then disappeared, and he hadn't seen her until he transferred here, because she transferred as well. So I wonder, was it happenstance they ended up transferring to the same school after all these years, or did she purposely come to the school knowing he was going to be here? She seems super unhinged when we get introduced to her. Her first lines of dialogue in the show was just her being Now-kun, following him and saying it over and over again. Hell, even he was leaving with his, taking his sister to school, and he found her, saw her, following him. So he's hey, Suzu, when you come home, after school, immediately come home. But then he's walking, trying to get away from her. In fact, he's running away from her at top speed, grabs up his sister, tries to rush home just to get away from Satsuki, because she just seems so unhinged. She says later on she had a reason for doing what she did, destroying the garden back then, but she doesn't want to tell Naoto what that reason is. And I'm also curious because she says that garden that was his family was working on was hers. So I'm curious that we don't really know what her family life is. So I'm curious, are we going to find out she did that so that she could protect Naoto? Like maybe she comes from a certain family that like has their own notions of what they want. Like she could come from a prominent family or something that wants something from her. Like, we want your life to be this way. And she destroyed that garden so that there was no connection between her and Naoto. So like maybe her family wouldn't. I don't know, like, she does seem to have a reason, even though, like, she liked him then, and she definitely does now. And I'm curious to see where the story ends up going. Obviously, I don't want any spoilers, but the manga is done. It ended, like, was it last year or the year before last? It was either 2023 or 2024, but the manga is complete, so the story is done. So... But like I said, I don't want to skip to the ending and find out. But I'm so curious what her motivations are. Once again, these are just me speaking this all out. It's rhetorical. I don't actually want to know. I'm excited to try and figure it out along the way and try it. Once again, just the first episode, so there's not a lot to go on. But you could just kind of guesstimate on what potential route they could take the story. Like I said, maybe it's like she did that to protect Naoto from like her family, because her family wants her to, like I said, live a certain life, or maybe they like kind of have her. I don't know. Maybe just in her own means, she thought she was protecting Naoto by doing what she did, and maybe in her own way she was. Because even like the whole like them kissing situation, like she went hard in the paint, like came with a hoe in her hand, and then was like, "Hey, I'm trying to return this to you," but then immediately locks lips with him and won't even give him a chance to breathe until he passes out. It's like, he's like, "Hey, yo," she's literally sticking her tongue down my throat, and it doesn't help that literally your sister was watching, your aunt was watching, as well as Yukari, the girl you're really actually into, was watching as well, but she's kind of like taking it with stride, because she's just like, "Oh, I guess those two are hanging out." Then the next day, Satsuki is filling her up, being like, "Oh, is this the type of girl you're into? Girls with big boobs? Like, what are you, an F cup?" So I don't know. Because I'm also curious, like, is that going to be the situation where, like, she's so in love with Naoto that it's like, I would be willing to cast aside my feelings for you just so I can make sure you're happy, but maybe not. I don't know. You know what, this, especially with the 3, and obviously it got expanded upon as the story went forward, but it kind of just slightly gives me Nisekoi vibes, just a little bit. Because it makes me think that in very Nisekoi fashion, there was like the main protagonist made a promise to a girl. Granted, he doesn't remember which girl it was, and so there's like, I think in total ended up being like, wasn't it 5 different girls by the end of the series? It's been so long, but like I think I only watched the first season of anime, but I read quite a bit of the manga. Basically, that's when the spoilers, like I think the 5th girl came into play where I got to in the manga. I think I got pretty far in the manga, but like I said, this was years and years ago. But I'm wondering if it's kind of a similar thing where like he made a promise to Satsuki years ago and he just doesn't remember it. Like, we're kind of meant to be together, and she's kind of held on to that promise all these years, maybe. Naoto had asked his sister what she wanted as a birthday present, because he didn't have the money at the time to buy her something. But now it's like, okay, whatever you want, think about it long and hard and tell me what it is that you want. And she decided that she wants to make a garden with him, which obviously he has a little trauma associated with a garden, especially when it comes to Satsuki. But for Suzu, it's because she associates a garden with good times with her family, specifically with their mom and dad. So even though she, doesn't remember a lot, because she initially didn't remember Satsuki, but it took a little while, but she did. So she probably was super young, so she probably doesn't fully remember Satsuki destroying the garden. But I think it's it's actually really sweet and kind of thing where, just like I said, Suzu's she's thinking like it'll almost kind of fill that void to some extent. It'd almost be like, we're doing this thing that connects us to mom and dad who are now gone. And so I think obviously it's going to be like that for Naoto, but it's also going to be his means of confronting the past, especially with Satsuki offering to help. Because initially, I love when he rolls up and it's like, "Wait, why do you have Suzu? Her leg is injured. Did you do something to my sister?" And it's like, "Okay." He's like, "Hand her over." And Sasuke being hard to get. It's like, oh, what if I don't? What if I just run off with her? He's like, the fact is, I'll do whatever it takes for my sister. I'll protect her no matter what. He's like, normally I wouldn't hurt a child or a girl, but I'll do whatever it takes because I love my sister so much. And then she's just like, oh, that's so embarrassing. You love me too much. But then she's like, okay, I have a problem you hanging out with girls, but I'll make an exception with Sasuke, which is so sad because like the girl he like currently really, really is into, like wants to spend time with him, and then like she got upset when he went to hang out with her, even though like they had made plans the day before, and Sasuke was like, no, we'll like kind of let them hang out and we'll kind of work on a garden together. But the moment she sees her brother with Yukari, it's like, no, how could you? I hate this, I hate you. Even though like he got her like a new like I think it was like a shovel he got her, because he's like, right, I know you're not really into like pink or red, and that blue would kind of be more your speed. So I guess his sister's a little bit of a tomboy in a lot of ways. So, and then also Yukari messing up, being like, "Oh yeah, you looking after your sister." She's like, "That's something. That's one of the things I love about you." And she, I thought that was love. She's like, "Never mind. I'm going to go bye," and it takes off. It's like, once again, she's super obviously into you, but I think it's going to be the thing of Sasuke's going to be like, "Well, I'm gonna bite my time. I know that we're going to be in game, so but I'm going to probably do whatever it takes to jeopardize and complicate your life and mine," because she just seems to be pure chaos. She, from the beginning, kind of gives off slight yandere energy. We'll see if that ends up being the case or not. But she definitely kind of goes about things at her own speed, does whatever she wants. She's very, like, what's the word I'm looking for? She's kind of quite the enigma, because you're just like, you don't know what her motivation is. And cause quite the stir because, she's trying to strip even though he's like right there. It's like, no, stop, don't do that. Don't strip in the back of someone's garden. And then he collapses on top of her. His aunt catches him and it's like, yo, I warned you. If I catch you doing that again, you're going to get kicked out. And I'm like, I don't know if he legitimately got kicked out or not. We'll have to wait till the next episode to see if she's actually 100% serious about that or not. I could also see Satsuki using that to her advantage, being like, oh, I guess she'll just have to live with me or something like that. Like, it probably won't be a permanent thing. Like, even if she'll probably calm down eventually because Suzu will probably calm her down, or Naoto will, like, kind of plead his case and apologize. I'm curious to see if she actually does kick him out or not. And like I said, Satsuki could probably use that to her advantage, but we'll see. Just the first episode, interesting start and premise, and like how this is all going to revolve around working on a garden. I wonder if they're going to, because he didn't start a club. There was like his friend was saying like, oh, we're going to start a club, but it's going to be a very casual one. I don't remember they ever specified what the club was going to be. I wonder will it end up being like a gardening club or something like that, like related to that, or will the gardening thing just be a home thing and not I'm sure like some of that's going to translate over into the school as well. But I'm really interested to see where this story ends up going, how this all plays out and progresses. Like I said, based on the intro, there is another girl in play. Granted, it's going to be interesting to see when she makes her appearance and under what circumstances. Like, is she going to be a new transfer student or is she already at the school? We'll just have to wait to see. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.